World with Creatives on Campus, and I'm your host, Brittany T. We are back with another amazing episode tonight of the podcast. If you've been with us, you know we've been interviewing some dynamic guests week after week, and tonight is no different. I have a friend here who, oh man, so many things I could say. I'm not going to get too much into anything because I want him to come and sit down and for us to talk. But all I can say is that this episode is just bringing back some very, very vivid childhood memories. And let me just bring him out. So without further ado, I'm going to bring out my friend, Mr. Kev, Coach Kev Knox. Come on. Woo! Thank you, Kev.
Thank you.
So, first of all, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And I think it's important for us to just talk about, like, our earliest connection of how we know each other, because it's pretty special.
Yeah.
It's pretty special.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing, first of all. Because me and Brittany known each other since we were, like, kids. Her grandma and my grandma was best friends. We was watching Barney together. Facts. You know what I'm saying? So, like, we go back to Barney days. That's real.
I mean, that's very real. Mm-hmm. Yes, and so it's crazy to think about, like, you know, my grandma babysitting us and starting the day off before we were going to school together, and, like, you know, just at that young age, and to now be at this place, and then, you know, in our 30s and doing what we're doing, you doing what you're doing. Is that something you would have ever even thought, like, thinking back to when we was kids?
Nah, man, I was thinking about them picking boogies moments and stuff like that.
Oh, my God.
Yo, listen, we used to go in, you know what I mean?
What?
Listen,
I don't even know what he's talking about. Okay.
Boogie picking during Barney. I shouldn't have said that, huh? I should have said that. Oh, you going. But listen, we grown now.
I guess.
We successful entrepreneurs now. The boogie picking days is behind us.
Okay, thank God.
But honestly, I think that our grandparents would be, like, extremely proud of us. Mm-hmm. And I think that the reason why is because all the seeds that they sown that we didn't even know that they were sown into us is now, like, we're now reaping a harvest of what they've sown inside of us, but took it to a whole nother level beyond where, when you ask me, do I think that I'd ever imagine it? I think that if you were to ask our grandmas, they probably wouldn't even imagine we would be where we are today. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the biggest blessing in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And to have, you know, your grandmother, my grandmother, still here and alive, to be able to, you know, for them to see the way we're growing, I think is also super dope.
Absolutely. And that's been the coolest blessing. That was always my prayer. Like, I wanted my grandmother, to be able to see a return on her investment when she invested into me. And she's 95, so, you know, it's a blessing to still have her. So to see how, you know, she sees me inspiring people and encouraging people, and it's just, and I always reference my grandma in all my talks and everything that I do. I always say, yeah, I learned from my grandma, or I learned this and I learned that. And that's my way of, like, kind of acknowledge, like, thank you. You know what I'm saying? So. Yeah.
Awesome. So tell us, I mean, I know a little bit about what you've been up to, but talk a little bit about what you do, you know, who is Kev Knox?
So I'm a certified life coach, best-selling author. I'm a speaker. Some people categorize me as a motivational speaker. Like we were saying a little bit behind the scenes, I don't really agree with that term. I don't like to be called that term.
Okay.
And my reason for that is because I feel as though motivation it's just like a car. I can fill you up, but eventually you're going to have to, no matter how much I fill you up, you're going to have to be refilled, right? I believe that inspiration and motivation is key. We both need those things. But I believe it's information that empowers us to have true success and have true change. And so as a coach, I consider myself as a teacher. And I wanted to teach people by providing them the information to close the gap between where they are and where it is that they want to be. You know, as simple as that. You know.
So let's rewind a little bit, because this podcast is really dedicated to students who are emerging in their path. Maybe they're not students, maybe they dropped out, maybe they're in transition. Talk a little bit about your journey. You know, you have taken a journey of your own that is not traditional, I think, in the sense that with a lot of the guests we've had who go to do the 4-year college and all of that. And I think there's something to be said about people who are still able to tap into purpose, still be successful without, doing what society says is the way. Mm-hmm. So talk about, your own journey and what that's looked like.
Yeah, I mean, going all the way back to high school days, trying to figure out what am I going to do after high school. It was the typical thing. Once you graduate high school, like, or your junior year, you're looking for a college to get into. And I mean, I'm going to be honest, educational work, like the college thing was never really my thing, but it was something that I pursued to try to do because that's what everybody was doing. And so, and like I had the type of parents, oh, well, you're going to go to college. And I think it was so traditional to go to college, but you'll never ask the question, well, what are you going to college for? You know what I mean? And when you're just transitioning out of high school, you're still figuring yourself out. You haven't even, in my opinion, experienced real life yet to even know what I want to do. And so for me, I actually, I tried like community college for like a year or two just to try it, but it just wasn't for me. But in the midst of that, I can honestly say that's where I started to learn more of my talents and my gifts and my abilities. For example, I always got kicked out of class. You know why? Because I always taught. You know what I'm saying? And I'll never forget, I had a guidance counselor. And my mom said, see, that's why you ain't going to make it. You don't know how to just be quiet. And my guidance counselor said, hey, listen, he's got a gift. He's just using it prematurely. Give him time. And I was like, what's my gift? She said, you can talk. I said, talking just got me kicked out of class. And she said, just give it time. And so, what happened was I'll notice when I'm talking to someone, it's weird. When I talk, people listen, and then I didn't know, like, when I said that I'm a teacher, I was walking in my purpose long before I even knew it was my purpose. And I think that even in college or even in high school, I think that we should be learning what is our purpose before we need to learn, oh, yeah, you need to go to this college or you not need to go to this college. Because if I know my purpose, I now know what to do. Or if I'm going to go to college, I know what I'm going to college for.
That's going to inform the next decision.
You know what I'm saying? And so otherwise, we're just walking blind.
Yeah. No, I hear you and I agree in so many ways. I think it's a big part of why the podcast is here is really for that very reason of, how do we make sense of what society keeps saying we need and what we ourselves maybe need to take some space and really reflect and think about what we actually, truly, genuinely need. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. So tell us, you said best-selling author, so that's dope. What prompted you to write the book, and not just what prompted you to write it, several books at this point, like how do you get from start to finish? Because I got a book I started back in like 2010 that's still in progress. So help me. I can't speak for everybody. Like, I think I'm wired differently. Every book that I've written, a fun fact about every book that I've written, I wrote within like a 2-week time period. And that's real. And I think it's because ever since I was 18, I had a mentor. And he always told me like to journal out your emotions. And when you write, writing helps you deal with inner conflict emotionally. You know what I mean? And so for me, I would be dealing with some people when they're under stress, they go to substances or whatever it may be. Or for me, I just got into the habit of writing out how I feel. And it got to the point where I got kind of like addicted to it. But as gifted as a speaker as I am, I really believe my true gift is writing because I have time to process what it is that I'm thinking, or what I really want to say. And a lot of times I took the time to really speak life into me by writing it. And then I would speak to myself what I wrote. And then after a while, I noticed how powerful it was. Hold on one second. Because I think that's so powerful. You say you were writing to speak life back to your own self.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I that's such an important point for me to just pause for a minute. Because I've been saying it a lot, is that what we put forth, especially when it's God inspired, especially when it's in that lane of inspiration and information and something that's going to help someone else, yes, get from point A to point B, but for you also. right? For you to also be on that list of people that you want to inspire and speak hope to.
Absolutely. If you do not know who you are, you only leave opportunity for other people to tell you who you are. And so I had no choice but to begin to tell myself who I was. Like, I always use this analogy. Like, if you go to the club, right, what's the first thing you met with? Is a bouncer, right? And the purpose of that bouncer is to pat you down, to make sure that you don't have anything harmful on you to do harm to anyone inside of the club, right? You have to see that bouncer or as like your conscious mind, your ability to make choices. You have to see your subconscious mind as like that purpose that's within you and everything like that, right? And so or that's the club, right? So what happens is that you can't enter a club. This is how you know you fancy. When you go to a club and they ask if your name is on the list. So when you think about the club of our minds, we have so many thoughts that come to our minds. We think 70,000 thoughts a day. Most of them thoughts are negative thoughts, or it's thoughts of people imposing their fears on us, saying what we can or cannot do and things like that, right? But when you take the time to write down who you are, you write down what you choose to believe, right? Listen, if that thought then comes to my mind, oh, hey, that's a cool idea, but I don't think that's possible. Wait a minute, I'm sorry. You can't enter into the club of my mind because you're not on the list. I'm sorry. Because this is a club of positive vibes only. You know what I mean? Because you're not a product of what people think. You're not a product of what people say. You're a product of whatever it is that you choose to believe. So at the end of the day, the question is, what is it that you believe? And for me, it was what I wrote down on that paper. You know? And so I have to protect the purpose that's within me. I have to protect the gift that's inside of me. So I use my conscious mind as the security guard. So if it's a thought, I'm sorry, I'll bounce it. If it's a negative thought, I'll bounce it right out of the club of my mind. You know, so.
I love that, and I love the analogy. Our mind is such a powerful part of us, and it literally we have a choice in every moment, right? When we're encountered with these thoughts, we have a choice, like you're saying, like to put them in check, right? To bounce them back. And a lot of times, I know I have personally been in the seat of feeling like sometimes like you can't stop the thoughts, right? It's like, so what is the wisdom, or what can you say to that in terms of people who feel like, especially now we're in a pandemic where we're living through so many things, and it's like I think people are overwhelmed maybe in a way more than a year ago. How do you it sounds good to just bounce it back, but what is the practical like process in which people can really lean into that?
So it's a couple things. One, let me start off by saying it's not who you are that holds us back, it's who we think we're not. Two is that one of my favorite quotes is that it is your faith that has the ability to move mountains, but it's your doubts that have the ability to create them. And we have to get to a place that before we doubt, you said it, we have a choice. So doubting is a choice. So before we doubt, we have to begin to doubt our doubts. You know what I mean? You have to empower yourself to doubt your doubt. You know what I mean? Question the doubt. Sometimes we have negative thoughts that just come and we just, okay, I believe it because it came. Like, nah, question it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I don't think you could do it. Well, why can't I do it? Hey, back it up. Like, prove to your negative thought, like, back it up. Show me why I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? And so, but practically it's like this. The number one thing that holds us all back, entrepreneurs, creatives, is fear. That's the number one thing. So watch this. Fear is caused by ignorance, just simply not knowing, right? So watch this. When you do not know something, like let's say you're trying to start a business. You just don't know how you're going to get started, right? Or let's say you want to build your brand, or you just don't know. You begin to worry and you doubt, right? Now, when you worry and you doubt consciously, meaning as though you're choosing to do that, and if you do it for a minimum of 21 days, you then impress fear into your subconscious mind. And when you impress fear into your subconscious mind, the next phase of that is then we suppress it. And then when we suppress it, now we are dealing with anxiety. And that's how anxiety is formed. Anxiety is nothing but fear that has been suppressed, right? From that point on, then you will be at a dis-ease in your life. Because it's like a woman that's pregnant. It's like you have this purpose and you have these gifts, and then after a while, the baby starts to form, the baby starts to get bigger. And when you think about it, a woman that's pregnant, she can't sit the way she once used to sit. she can't walk the way she wants used to walk because it's something inside of her that's growing. And that into a creative or entrepreneur, that's where you get that frustration and you're at a dis-ease. But you know what? If we don't eliminate it, that dis-ease will turn into, that dash will go away. Now we have disease. And then we're killing our dream. We're killing the purpose that's inside of us. And now that turns into disintegration. So to be able to reverse that, the polar opposite of ignorance is knowledge. So we have to get knowledge and study who we are. Right? When you know who you are, you develop confidence. And when you develop confidence, guess what? Instead of impressing fear, you impress faith into your subconscious. And now that you have faith, you now are at ease. You're super energetic. Hey, how you doing? You have energy. And then here's what's so cool. When you're at ease, you have acceleration. You get an idea, you act on it. You just do it. You know what I'm saying? And then if you have acceleration, you have creation versus disintegration. And so,
just snap it up for you a little bit. Over here just dropping some gems on us real quick, and I appreciate that. So just as some final thoughts, tell us what, we're right here in 2021 practically. What's next for you? What are you looking forward to in this next journey, in this next wave of your journey?
I'm super excited because to kick off the new year, I'll be launching my new book. It's called Stop Existing, Start Living. How to overcome your fears and live out your dreams.
Okay.
And I'm really, really excited about it because I really think that this is a season for us all where we have to stop existing. For example, you're alive and you're breathing, but the question is, are you really living? And when I say, are you really living? Are you living out your best life? Are you living out your fullest potential? Are you living out your dreams? Are you achieving your goals? Because if you're not doing any of those things, and number one, if you're not walking in your purpose, I'm sorry to tell you, but you just exist. You know what I mean? And we were created on purpose, for purpose. And I think that, I'm really excited about this book because I feel as though people are going to get the information that they need to overcome their fears and by understanding what it is, to be able to go to the next level of their lives and freely walking in their purpose where they can really live.
Wow. That's awesome. This is awesome. I'm excited for you. I'm always just encouraged by seeing you out. When I see you, just what you're posting on social media, like you have this confidence where it's like, it don't really matter. You're like in your own zone. And I understand that maybe, you too are, encountered with different thoughts and feelings that you have to persist through. But I just want to encourage you that what you're doing is dope and it is definitely changing lives, and to keep going.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Kev also has an album out right now, available everywhere digitally, called Unleash the Beast.
Unleash the Beast on all digital outlets available now.
Yes, support that. We've been bumping that even right up in here at Creators on Campus, trying to get our mind right. So you too do the same thing. Where can we follow you? How can we stay in touch with you?
You can follow me on all social media outlets at Coach K Knox, CoachKKNOX.
Yes. Thank you so much, Kev.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Brittany. Peace and love, yo. Thank you so much. And shout out to all that you're doing, man. I think that this is a beautiful platform, and just being able to expose entrepreneurs like myself. And I think that what you're doing is just absolutely amazing and so needed.
Thank you.
Because you're uncovering like the secrets that we all need. We need an outlet. We need people to pour into us and revive those dreams that we have inside of us. And I think you're doing an amazing job. So
thank you.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. Again, follow Kev on all social media platforms. If you're not following us, follow us here at Creatives on Campus at Creatives on Campus. Until next time, my name is Brittany T, and it has been a pleasure hosting you on another episode of It's a Different World with Creatives on Campus.